Hello, good morning. Welcome to Stamp and Chat. It is Tuesday the 17th. I was going to say 16th, but I'm pretty sure it's the 17th of September. And we've got a beautiful sunny morning here in Gloucestershire. It's chilly, it's quite chilly out there, but we're going to have some good temperatures for the rest of the week. So always good to have a bit of sunshine. It definitely lifts the mood. I am sure you will agree. So who is going to be joining me this morning? Hopefully somebody will be. Let us check and see. So today we are week 3 of Stamp and Chat. So we're going to be following on from our Yuletide village creations with our crumb cake snow and sky. Right, that's better. See what I'm doing now. So I'm hoping that Facebook's going to play ball, because I've been trying to watch some other people on their live Facebooks and it kept throwing me out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be kind to us today. Right, let's move everything out of the way. If you are joining, please do say hello. Morning, Lucianne, how are you doing? Aren't we having some lovely weather? It's definitely a chill in the air, isn't it? And my wander around the garden this morning was a bit damp underfoot, but it has been, you know, a nice weekend as well. Had a bit of a dreary day on Sunday, but good to have a bit of sunshine, isn't it? Hope you will agree. Right, let us get you down onto my desk so we can see what we're doing. Bear with the palm of my hand. Wiggle you around. Come on. Switch view. Let's get you straightened up. Hopefully Zoom will play ball today. Get some light on. I've been not watching back my lives, but always have a quick look just to, you know, make sure everything's sort of clear. And to me, my desk is looking very dark. Can anyone agree on that? I'm good, thanks, Lucianne. I'm good. Usual tiredness. I think that's just me. I just don't think I sleep that well, and I'm just tired a lot of the time. So looking forward to receiving the rest of your swaps, and hopefully the rest of the team will get theirs to me very soon, and then I can return some to you. Right, I'm going to tape that grid paper down because that's about as straight as we're going to get. So you can see my 2 stamp sets. So we're following on from the last live. Let's just see, my brightness is up. It's just been looking really dull. Let's just check I'm on the right settings on my light, which I think I am. I think I'm as high as I can go. Oh well. Stop faffing. Let's get on with the show. Right. So 2 stamp sets. No surprise there. Yuletide Village, my absolute favourite at present. And then I'm pulling in the Snowy Wonder for the greetings. I still have yet to stamp with this one, apart from the snow and the greetings. You can see that the ones that I've used are stained. That is general. I'm itching as well to have a go with the rest of these. I didn't buy the die set. Lucianne, don't think anymore about the Yuletide Village. You need to get it. It's so much fun. And remember, I've posted this on my groups this morning. We have a free shipping day tomorrow. So if you can rumble up an order for £60, you will earn yourself free shipping, which is good news. I will be doing an order as well, so if it means you can't quite get to that £60, then you can just message me and I will add whatever you want onto my order. Okay, so yeah, Snowy Wonder. I didn't get the dies for it and I'm kind of regretting it. I might have to add them on. But we also have this gorgeous scrapbook kit, the workshop kit, that coordinates with this. Now, if you are part of my stamping community group, I did do a live where I ran through the kits that I've got. But if you're not part of that, why not? Please do join. Anybody can join that group. It's a friendly place where we just chat, share ideas, inspiration, have a monthly challenge, and just, you know, keeping in touch and keeping you up to date with what's going on. So please do join that. Anybody, as I said, anybody can join, doesn't matter where you are. So within this scrapbook workshop kit, we've got some instructions here. So you can create 3 2-page layouts. And that being said, this kit could be used for your card making projects. You've got some lovely cardstock stickers, really good quality, so all coordinates. Then we've got some pattern papers. They're slightly different to those in the Snowy Scenes. Is it called Snowy Scenes? I've got my pack here. Yeah, DSP. So slightly different designs, whereas the one in the paper pack has green in this, garden green as well. Good morning, Helen, my lovely. Hope you're doing okay, sweetheart. Hope you'll be home later. So we've got these lovely designs, and then we've got 4 sheets of single-sided paper, this lovely garden green. So 2 of that one, and then 2 of this gorgeous pool party one as well. And then we've got some of our new 2-tone cardstock. So can you see the difference in the colour? I'm just waiting for my catch-up. It's not very clear because we've got a light reflection. So we've got a couple of sheets of the pool party, and then some of the new white willow, which is a new white. And these cardstocks, they're 2-tone, but they're printed onto white cardstock. So they've got a white core. So when you tear them or sand them, you will reveal the white on the inside, and they're a lovely weight. I'm not sure they'd be heavy enough for some of your boxes, definitely for like little gift bags and packaging, but they're not quite as heavy as our general cardstock, but they're perfect for scrapbooking. So that is the Snow Days one, and that coordinates with this. And I do believe with some of these papers, the dies will actually cut them out as well. So for instance, I think, look how cute the prints are. On the one that's got the, don't see I've used it all. Maybe I have used both of them. It's the one I'm using today, I think. Is it this one? Yes. On the back of this sheet, you've got these huge snow globes. And I'm pretty sure the dies cut them out. So here's the sweet. It's just scrummy. Oh, Helen, yes. I'm hoping to, fingers crossed. This sweet, so you can see the papers here. You've got the stamps, and then you've got the die set. Obviously, when you buy the stamps and the dies together, you get the bundle price, so you save yourself 10%, which is really good. But I'm pretty sure these will cut out pieces from the DSP. As I don't have them in my hands, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that these 2 dies will cut out these images from the DSP, which is fab. I love it that Stampin' Up do that for us. So that is the Snowy Wonder. That's what coordinates with that. I've not got any dies ready. And then you can find the Yuletide Village on page 56. It's this one here. And do not miss that stamp set there. It is on my radar for sure, but I don't have it quite yet. I've spent a lot of money on stuff lately, and I just need to get using what I've got. So the Falling Snow, it's a background stamp, but that is gorgeous. Okay, let's get rolling. Definitely got a frog in the throat and a bit of a tickly cough now and then, and the sniffles. So it's that time of year, isn't it? The heating is gone on here. Well, it went on at the beginning of the month. Where's my projects? There they are. So yeah, that always has a bit of a knock-on effect when the heating goes on. It dries everything up. So I've got 2 cards for you and a 3D project today. We've got quite a bit of work to do, so I need to get a wriggle on. What is in my basket? We have got the loose snowflakes. Let's try and open them with my dodgy hand without spilling them everywhere. I've been using these and using them at class, and there's still trillions and zillions left in there. They are brilliant. So crumb cake, Lucianne, were you saying your crumb cakes are losing their colour? Yes, our pens do not have a lifetime longevity. They will run out. They're like any pen. They're alcohol inks and they will run out over time. In fact, I've just ordered a new set as well because I am using this a lot. And then I've also pulled out my Stampin' Blends combo. This is the SU 500 and SU 600. And I'm going to give them a little colour just so that you can see. Let's find a scrap. The difference in the colours. Oh, I just made a mess of my scraps then. And the item code for this, if that's focusing, is 159462. And obviously they come as a pair, but they're just these lovely kind of autumnal tones. I've been using the SU, that one I just did was SU 500. I've been using that slightly more because, oh, for snoring already. I just felt it was more of a like a beigey colour than more pinky, but they are fab. I love those. And then also I pulled out my Wink of Stella. We were using this on Saturday morning, having a little giggle about the Wink, but it is a great product and I'm going to add it to some of my rooftops if I remember. I've got just 2 inks on my desk. I've got Crumb Cake and Memento. Thanks, Helen. I think my hand is going to be an ongoing thing. I just need to be careful with it, and I can't 100% rest because I'm right-handed, but just be careful how I use it. So I try not to grip or do heavy things with it. Right, let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to do some stamping because I want to allow for my inks to dry, although I have done a bit of stamping ahead. Let's get my little foam mat, and I've got just a square of cardstock here, and I'm going to first start with the church. So we're going to ink that one up in Memento, and I've gone through and re-inked a couple of my Mementos. I've been using them a lot, and they were just getting a little dry. So we're going to stamp that one on here, and then we're going to sit and let it dry. Now I have got some that I've stamped ahead of time, so just so that I know they are well and truly dried out. So I might just pull one of those in to stamp on and put that to one side. And we also need, with our crumb cake, the cute fir tree. And I need to grab a bit of crumb cake cardstock. There's never a shortage of scraps of that around here. Just find the right width. So I need, we'll use the end of that bit, a couple of trees in white, just about fit on there, and then we're going to do one in crumb cake on crumb cake. And it does make them look so different when you lay them down onto your project. So what have we all been up to? Helen, I know what you've been up to, bless your heart. What have we all been up to? Sorry, I'm just trying to read back through the messages. Hello, if you are joining us, we are creating 3 cards this morning using the Yuletide village. So do I need to cut these out, or did I cut out enough? Let's cut them out. We all like a bit of fussy cutting, don't we? And then we will get to do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm using my trusty Spotlight on Nature dies this morning, yet again, just because I love the circles. If you don't have this set, I know you are sure to have some circle dies, even from way back in the day. We don't really part with things like our shape dies, do we? Good morning, Belle. How you doing, my lovely? It's good to have you live with me. I've still got to finish watching the end of yours. I didn't quite get to the end of it. So came back over to the studio last night, and we were over here again until we didn't get back into the house until 9:15 to sit down and kind of like unwind for the day. Jason wanted to get another engine in a race car, so he's got it in, and he wanted to just get the engine running just to make sure, because he's racing at the weekend. So he was pretty happy, although all he seems to be doing at the minute is losing things down there, and I'm not gonna lie, he's driving me slightly insane. I mean, you know, we lose stuff as crafters, but we generally tend to, it's on the desk somewhere, isn't it? We lose stuff and it's right under our nose, but it's on the desk. But in the last week, and we have both spent a lot of time over here, but in the last week, he's lost a bolt, which is kind of not replaceable. The cars that he's got, they're not the kind of cars where you can just go and buy stuff off the shelf. Things have to be made for them. He lost a bolt, and then over the last few days, he's lost this pipe. Don't ask me what the pipe does. It's some kind of breather pipe. But he lost it, and he was driving himself insane last night, looking for it, huffing and puffing. So I ended up going down and trying to help him. I was looking everywhere, couldn't find it. He remembered seeing it under the car before he, when he put it, lifted it with his, what does he call it, with his crane. And then he hasn't seen it since, but he thinks he remembered picking it up and putting it somewhere safe. So bless him, he was driving himself insane, wondering what on earth he'd done with that. He did find the bolt, and I am going to tell you, he found the bolt in his bin. We're good at that at Crafters, aren't we, guys? We quite often throw our dies in the bin by mistake, but yeah, he needs to stop looking, and then it will appear. You're right there, but it's about 1 foot long apparently, just this small pipe. Spotlight on Nature dies. I am using this is my trusty favorite, although this one is second best. You can see I've not poked the bits out. You don't have to poke those little bits out every time you use it. I would say after a few uses, push them out, because they will just then start sticking in to your paper. But I don't get the feeling you need to do it all the time. Right, what we're going to do first is put it in our plates. An engine hoist. Yeah, he calls it his crane. He calls it his crane, but yeah, it's an engine hoist. So the other day he needed an extra one because he had an engine hanging on one, and then he needed to get an engine out of another, and it was like, oh, the dilemmas. Oh, the dilemmas. So, right, what we're going to do is line this die here over to the right hand side of our card. And I'm going to bring it down a bit, not too close to the edge because we need to leave a gap there. And I'm thinking that's probably about right. So I'm going to grab some washi tape to just hold that in place because, you know, as soon as I pick it up and turn around, it will move. So let's get our top plate and just run that through. So what have you been up to, Belle? Have you been busy? I heard you saying that Neil had been away to visit family. Right, so we've got our 2 pieces here. We're not using, oh, we are using this one. That's a fib. I was going to say we're not going to use that one. We'll put it to one side, but we are using that one. Next, what we're going to do is pull in some scrap and take our blending brush and just add some colour with the crumb cake. Helen, I hope your breakfast was better than your dinner looked last night. I have to say that when Jason's dad was in hospital, he had a brief couple of spells in hospital. The food they were serving looked quite delicious. We had envy the one day we were there. It looked actually very good, but yours last night, well, did not look the best. I hope it tasted better than it looked. So I'm just adding a subtle background using my crumb cake. That's probably enough. Let's try and get an even coverage. It looks a little bit pale there. So I always pick up in a circular motion. I take a bit off and then add to my layer. Otherwise you're risking putting like a really harsh mark, especially if it's a dark colour. Light colours aren't so bad. Then what we're going to do, I've put the crumb cake away, but I need it back out, is we're going to add some snow. My stamps have had so much use, they've lost their bit of cling. So I'm just going to huff on my block a little bit just to add some moisture to make sure that sticks on there. I need to just run these in a bowl with a little bit of soapy water and just give them a rinse over. And it's basically because I've been using them so much. So I'm just crumb cake ink onto this crumb cake layer, and I have just re-inked my crumb cake as well, so it's very dark. So this is going to look quite a bit different to my original, but it's okay. Crumb cake is within my boundaries of having a bit of depth, so I'm just filling in the little gaps. We'll do a little bit down the edges as well. Looks so sweet actually. Now we're going to do that one. No, I won't. I'll leave it out while I do my greeting. So we've just got this lovely stamped background going on. And then while we've got that out, I'll put that to one side. I'm going to pull out my season's greetings. Belle, did you get this set? And probably got loads of these stamped and cut out ready, but we all love to watch a bit of fussy cutting, don't we? And we'll just stamp that one down. How gorgeous is that? Morning, Shaz, my lovely, how are you doing? Good evening to you, I should say. How are you? I've got some scrapbooky bits on my desk next to me because I've been full on preparing for my retreat and I've not really had much time to think, but I'm at a point where I've got loads of computer work to do because I want to get some things down on paper for my people. And I will probably go out and meet my daughter later and make a start of that, and have a a working coffee like we do and a catch up. But I also, yesterday, I printed off some photos and I pulled out the Autumn to Remember papers. What are they actually called? Let's have a look. Sweet Days of Autumn. And I'm really tempted to just do myself a little layout because it might just like curb the urge to get something done because I really want to, but I have other stuff I really need to be doing first. But I feel like I've personally, like I was over here every night last week. I worked Saturday because I had a class in the morning, so that isn't really work because that was just a lovely, fun, social morning. I did work in the afternoon. I did pop out for a couple of hours. But then I worked in the evening. I was over here on Saturday night. Jason wasn't here. I was home alone. So I was working till about 9 o'clock. And then I worked all day Sunday. All day Sunday. So I feel I need to treat myself with a bit of scrapbooking. So that is my plan. Hopefully for later. So I need someone. Yeah, you're saying just do it. You're scrapping tomorrow. Bless you. So are you scrapping in company or on your own? Right, so what I'm going to do is layer up. Let's give you the measurement of this. It's probably my standard, yeah. Piece of crumb cake, 3 3/4 by 5 3/8. And then my layering basic white piece will be 3 5/8 by 5 1/4 inches. So what I think we should do is start colouring. Have I got one I've already? No, you need to see me colour. You need to see me colour. So, quick bit of colouring. Dare I zoom you in a bit? A little bit if I can. Just a smidge. I'm going to use the SU 500 and the crumb cake. So my church, I tend to do it all in crumb cake. What I tend to do is undo my dark because this is sitting on my desk, but I don't pull the lid right off because these are alcohol markers. You don't want to leave them with the lids off for long. Last week I was using the Real Red one and I must have put it away without the lid on properly. In the evening, when I went back to it the next morning, it was totally dry. Totally dry. So, word of warning, I'm going in with the dark just to add some shading to the top. And then I'm going to continue, I'm going to do the middle panel. So tomorrow, if you're a lover of this set, I've got a Zoom in the morning where we are creating my 3 cards and a 3D class. If you want to join that, you need to message me because you'll need the link to join. It's £10 to join. Just adding in, can you see that? I've just drawn a line, and then with my light crumb cake, I'm just going to pull it in like that. And then we'll do the 3rd panel. Yeah, so I've got my Zoom in the morning. That's 9:30 until 11:30. It's 2 hours. It's £10 to join. You also get the PDF with all the measurements. That also has a live video that I've pre-recorded. So hopefully you'll see that as good value. And then a couple of hours, hopefully however long it takes us, no more than 2 hours to complete our projects. a bit of social time. And then we're just going to add that shadow bit in. Pull those two colours together, just so it looks like we've got a bit of shading under the eaves. The eaves, are they called the eaves, those bits? Under the roof bit. Right, so I've just gone in with light crumb cake for the top, and then that little part of the church there I'm going to do in the dark, along with that piece. So I'm going to pop my lid back on, make sure it's pushed right the way on. Oh, you're taking part in a blog hop, Sharon. That is exciting. I think I've only ever done one blog hop in my almost 15 years as a demonstrator. I'm pretty sure I've only done one. So, right, let us continue with the S500. Add in some colour on the steps and the doors. And then I just like to dot around the edge just to add a bit of, again, like a bit of shading. And I think actually I'm going to do the middle, so this is like the wooden frame of the window. I'm not adding colour to my wreath on this one. And then we'll go in with the dark crumb cake and just add. When I'm doing little bits of colouring like this, I'm literally just touching my white cardstock with my pen. So, and that ink that we've just coloured will just gradually blend into the cardstock as well. So it will change, it will kind of dry out a little bit. So really simple colouring. Let's cut that one out. Oh, I haven't done my roof. I missed a bit. The roof is just done in the dark crumb cake. Of course, do whatever colours you like. I've got a neutral Christmas going on here. Oops, nearly went over the edge then. There we go. That's better. Got a proper roof, and then we've got the snow there on the top. So let's grab our snips. The Scrapbooking Global Stampin' Up group have one every month, the third Thursday of the month. And this month's theme is Anything Goes. That sounds like fun. Right, I'm just trimming around the edge of this church. As not super close to the black of the outline. I always like to leave a little gap. I think it makes it easier for trimming. I find it much harder cutting close to that black line than I do leaving a little edge. So just working our way around. Sometimes it's tricky getting into the little nooks and crannies, but so we just end up with our lovely cutout church. So what we can do now is start building up, because I think we've got everything we need. So the other thing I've got here is a strip of the DSP. This is from that Snowy Scenes pack, and I've used nearly the whole 2 sheets of this for my projects because we were using it in my class on Saturday as well. So I definitely need to order some more, even if it's just for that sheet. And maybe I will take advantage of that free shipping we have tomorrow and treat myself to those dies as well. Right, let us layer up So first of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing this right. We can layer as we go, I think. I might just be tempted to pop on this and make sure that it's exactly the same length, because even when we cut, we're slightly out. Can you see it's just overhanging a bit? So I'm just going to snip that off, take my big ones for that. And then I think we'll add that after. So this layer is going to go up on dimensionals. Yeah, we're hoping that you're going to be home today, aren't we, Helen? You were hoping to be home yesterday. I did say if you're going to be in, I've got plenty of fussy cutting here. So I know what it's like though, when you're in hospital, you've got to wait for a doctor before they'll discharge you. And sometimes waiting for a doctor can be like waiting forever. Which I understand they're busy, but you know when you want to get home, but you can't go until you've been signed off. So I'm guessing that's what happened yesterday. Nobody got to you in time. And then they served you that yucky dinner, which most likely drove you to sleep, I should imagine. It looked very stodgy. So I'm just layering these two up like that. So we've got a nice bit of height. You know me, I like my layers. And then our little white piece that we cut out, we're going to stick that straight down in that aperture. Like that. Give it a good press down. So you can see that we've got, you know, a layer. It doesn't show very well. I should have maybe put glue. If you are doing something like this, maybe put glue right around the edge, just so that it sticks right the way down, because it's sort of popping up a bit where it's been cut. Let's fold this one while we're at it. So I took Archie home. I don't know where Alfie is. He's not under my desk. He must be having a wander. I've had Sophie's dog, Archie, for the last week. And I took him home yesterday. And I'm sure Alfie must be missing him, even though, you know, they get on really well. They do get on really well. So I'm sure Alfie's like missing his company. And I'm saying even though, you know, they had to take it in turns to sit on my lap at night because they both wouldn't get on at the same time. And the dogs are only allowed on one of the sofas down in the snug. So if Alfie was on my lap, here he comes, Archie was on the floor. And if Archie was on my lap, Alfie was on the floor. So he's probably like enjoying just having us to himself again. Right, what we want to do next is add this little house in here. And so what I'm going to do is trim out. In fact, I don't need to trim it out because I can just stick it straight on there. I was going to trim it off and then wedge it down in. But I think I'll just leave it like that. I don't need to chop any off. So I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals behind here, because that's going to be the bit that pops out from that back layer. You can see the extra depth. Yeah, it's hard to see. And I did debate whether putting like a white panel behind so you couldn't see any of the crumb cake behind as well. It depends what angle you're looking at it from. So let's pop in. I'm looking at my original. I did colour that tree in a little bit, but I'm just going to leave it. So we're just going to pop our tree in. We don't want it too high, don't want it too low, and we want to make sure that it's straight, even though my bit of cardstock at the bottom is not straight. I'd say somewhere about there will do nicely. So it looks like it's on a wonk, but it's because this bit of cardstock is. But we're going to add in this layer of paper. Gorgeous pattern in Petal Pink. And we're going to put it on just so that it covers over the bottom of that paper. It's going to add in some trees. Right, if I line it on my grid, I can follow these lines either side to know that it's kind of straight. Does anybody else really rely on their grid paper? When I'm not working with it, I find it really hard to straighten things up. So we've just added that in like that. Got crumb cake fingerprints on our white. And what we'll do now is add this in. Add this layer onto our card before we add on any other bits. So just pop that down. Got quite a big border of white around here. Make sure the edges are down. I know. That paper, I was just saying, Belle, I've only got scraps left of that particular side. And these are all the scrap pieces I've got left. So, and I've not even cut out one of those lovely snow globe pieces. So, yeah, I need more. I need another pack. Need to order another pack. Right, so we've got our trees that we cut out. We're going to pop one down at the front. This is definitely much darker than my original. I don't need any foam pads on here. So we're just going to wedge under that bit of DSP. Pop one here. And then underneath, I'm going to pop the crumb cake one. So I'm just going to pop a little dimensional on there. And then wedge that one under the church, up a little bit, like that. So I met with Caroline on Friday, my lovely Caroline. My long-term Stampin' Up buddy, who is so lovely to hang out with. Caroline joined with me. I'm trying to get that down in there and it's not lifting. Caroline joined with me not long after I started with Stampin' Up. I'm going to snip a little bit off the bottom of there. And basically I met Caroline because her husband at the time was a builder and he was building our house, and upon chatting he was like, oh, my wife does that craft. I think I was delivering flyers around our village at the time, and he's like, oh, my wife's got one of those cutting machine things. So, and I said to him, oh, give her one of my flyers. And he took it home, and then that's how we met. So we have been friends for almost 15 years. Right, and what I'm going to do, because this bit is just popping against that layer, I'm going to anchor it down. So I've just taken both sides off of here. I'm going to pick that one up and just wedge it under, just so it's got something to anchor on. It's stuck where I didn't want it to stick. Can you see I've just popped one under there, just so that it doesn't like hang about where it shouldn't. Now on my original, I put this one on another dimensional just because I felt it looked better. But then that takes us up to 2 layers, which I think I'm just going to put this one flat. You know I like height, but I am going to be posting out quite a few Christmas cards this year. So with Royal Mail's charges. We need to be savvy. So we're going to add that one in. Yes, so Caroline came here and then we went over to Ledbury because that's my place of choice at the moment. So we had a wonderful morning. We wandered, we shopped, we tried on, we browsed, we coffeed, we caked, and we had a lovely morning. So it was really good to catch up. We even found a little art gallery and had a little browse, which was very inspiring, I will say. I'm looking for my Tombow and it's right under my nose. So thank you, Shaz. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So I'm just popping in some of the gorgeous snowflakes. And talking of the snowflakes, I did treat myself to a new bit of putty as well. Oops, see what I mean? They've got like a life of their own. I can have that one. These are a gift for my challenge entries for September. And so far, we are halfway through the month. I don't think we've had an entry. So you need to get crafting, guys, and it can be anything Christmas. Anything Christmas. So just create something, upload a photo in my group, and then you'll be added. There's quite a bit of glue behind that one. I'm just going to move it up a little smidge. So quite a bit darker than my original, but that's because I did use my re-inked. Can you see the difference? So a very neutral Christmas. You're all wondering what I do with my house at Christmas, aren't you? And I do have red things for Christmas in the house. We don't go mad because our house is so open plan. Trying to decorate would just be like, it would probably take a week to put it up and a week to take it down. So we literally like focus on areas and just, you know, have a bit of decoration. But I do not go mad, and I do not go mad with colour. Even my tree is quite white, we'll say. So yes, Shaz, we had such a lovely morning on Friday. It was just so nice to catch up. So it's good to get out and catch up with people, isn't it? We're all very good, you know, we still haven't really got time. And I think with me, I will quite easily fill my time working. There's always work to be done. Quite easily do that. So, right, card number 2. We are on card number 2. There's a lot going on in this card. It is a lot, but I like the effect. Okay, so we've got a basic white layer, 3 3/4 by 5 3/8, and we're going to start by adding a bit of colour. Try not to go so dark with the crumb cake this time. Yes, please do add a card to the challenge. Of course, I can't post you out the gift, but you will get a PDF tutorial if you are a winner. So that's what I do for those who are overseas. And you just have to remember to pop in when you post your card to put the hashtag September challenge, and then I can just easily find everyone's creation. So we had quite a few entries last month, which was good. Right, don't overdo it, Kerry. So I'm just adding colour to the top. That's quite subtle. I think I need to add a bit more. Just a bit, not a lot. Press a bit harder, which is not good for my hand. That will do. And then maybe, shall I stamp off? No, let's just go with it. Just won't go too heavy. Let's just add some snow like we did before. Just put them a little bit more randomly. Oh, missed a bit. Never mind. It's snow. Fill in the edges. Might add just a little bit down this side. That's what happens when you stamp with one hand. Honestly, you really do need two hands to stabilize when you're stamping, but that's fine. We're going to pop something over here. So, right, next we need to do some stamping for colouring, and I have stamped ahead so that these are ready to colour in, but I am going to stamp them with you. So we're going to be mounting that one on top of here. I will stamp them with you so you can see what I'm doing. Right, I've got myself 2 pieces of cardstock, and so that I know which pieces I need, I've chopped off the top right corner so that I know which orientation that I'm stamping and what I'm actually stamping. Then I need to stamp on this piece here. I'm going to stamp the church. And I'm going to stamp it right at the top. So I'll give you the measurement of this paper. I'm going to stamp it so it's right at the top, which wasn't the best. It's not completely filled in there, but that is fine. This is, so if you allowed 3 3/4 depth of this cardstock, but stamped it at the top, you'd have enough at the bottom for what we're doing. In fact, will we? Now I'm questioning myself. Do it longer than that. I would say more like 4 inches. So that you've got, this is the piece I did earlier. So you've got, what is this one? 4 1/8. So that you've got all of this beneath you and you've got a bit of space to the side, okay? Then we also need, cannot pick anything up today, the little double houses, which are these, which I think probably my favourite image in the whole set. And we're going to stamp those at the top over to the left. And then we've got all this bit over the side. So we've got about 2.5 inch depth of this cardstock. And then the final house is this one here, which sort of makes me think of the gingerbread house. And we don't specifically need a lot of depth under this one. So I'll just stamp it. And I've already coloured this one in, I think. We just stamp it so it's close to the top, so we've got a bit underneath. Like that. Put that lid on the memento. So I'm going to put all of those, or both of those 2 to one side, and pull back in this one to colour. I have already partially coloured that one, and I've coloured that one as well. So I've just done the main of the house in crumb cake, and then I've used the SU 500. And then on this one here, I've actually used Petal Pink, which I didn't pull out. That's because I wasn't using it, I'd already coloured. But I've used the dark Petal Pink with the, let's not sit on that, with the SU 500. So let's pull back out. Need to do the church again, I'm afraid. I haven't got another one coloured that's deep enough. So we'll do the church really quickly. Take that lid off ready. And just colour in as we did before. So I do each panel at a time. And it just means that this bit of ink I've just coloured in is still slightly wet so that I can blend it. I feel like the urgency when I need to do a bit of blending, there's an urgency to do it before the colour sets in. So back in with the light. I don't think I will ever tire of colouring in these little houses. There is a craft fair coming up locally, not a craft, well yeah, it is a craft fair, and I'm considering going to it if we're not going to have family around that weekend. That's my dilemma. Like, weekends are precious, aren't they? And some of these craft fairs, they're not just the morning, they're like 10 till 2, which by the time you're setting up and everything, it's like most of the day gone. So I need to work around my family too. But if I was doing a craft fair, I would be doing loads of projects to sell with this lovely suite. I can just envisage a whole table of Yuletide Village projects, all in these colours, with a bit of red and white thrown in for Christmas too, of course. So if some of you have already purchased the PDF tutorial for my 3 cards and a 3D, we are doing like a neutral-ish version, but it does include some of the papers from the Take a Bow set. Now there's a bit of controversy about whether it's called Take a Bow, Take a Bow, but I'm feeling because it goes with a bow die set that it's supposed to be called Take a Bow. Would you agree? Whoops, I went over on the snow then. And then we're going to go in with the dark, just colour in those edges of the building. Bring in the SU500 and do the door. With a bit of shading. We'll do what are these called? The bits on the edge of your roof? I can't remember. I want to call them barge boards. They're not barge boards, are they? I don't know where that's come from. I can't think what they're called. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's not barge boards. Then we'll just use a bit of dark crumb cake for the windowsills, and we'll do the whole of the steps. So anything goes when you're colouring in this. Let's also not forget the roof this time. Colour that in like that. Just take off that harsh edge. And then I think that one is done. And then all I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to keep this lower bit. I'm just going to snip off right at that like edge of the snow line and cut around the top. Am I in shot? Trim it around. There's a blimmin' fly coming now. It's a big one as well. Surprised you can't hear it. When I came over here earlier, first thing, like the birds were singing, because I always have the door open at the bottom, apart from when it's windy, because the wind blows it shut, but the sound just comes right up the stairs. And it was just lovely hearing them. So just trimming around, turning our paper and take that edge off. So we've got this church like sat on this mountain of snow. We'll quickly colour in the crumb cake on this little house duo. These terraced, would you call them cottages? Not really, they're more like, they look a bit like townhouses, don't they? I feel like I could colour these houses with my eyes shut. I'm laughing at myself now because I just love it. And I do appreciate that colouring isn't for everybody. Let's Let's colour those steps in dark just to break it up a little bit. And we'll do the door in this colour as well. And then we can trim around that one. Snip, snip, snip. So I'm super excited to have a catch up with my daughter later, because she has been away for a week, and I'm not going to lie, it's felt like the longest week ever. Really weird to not catch up with her. So, but the thing is, we're both going to need to crack on with a lot of work, so we're not going to have... We'll be together when we coffee and catch up, working coffee. We will be together at least, so we will be sat in silent for some of that time while we work. But hi Renee, how are you doing? Fascia boards, that's it Helen, thank you. You saved the day. The fascias. Right. I've stamped ahead of time my brick wall. But I am just going to show you a little bit how easy it is to do it, because I had some ladies here last week that were struggling with the brick wall. So this is just a scrap that's out of my scrap bag. Oh, and again, this little stamp does not want to stick. I've used it too much. So we've got this little brick wall, and it's very Cotswold stone-esque, because it's very mismatched, it's nothing neat. And what I tend to do is stamp right at the top of my paper. Not the easiest when I've got a camera right in front of me and I can't get over, but I try and like get them as close to each other as I can. So I'm looking at this side of the stamp and trying to line it in, and then I'm doing it at the top. And then when I do the second row, because these are photopolymer, you can kind of see through and just build it up. And now if you get a little edge like that, that's white, you can either trim it off, or you can just go back in and infill that bottom bit. However, if you've got any little gaps at the bottom. Okay, so it's super easy, super sweet. It's kind of genius. I love that idea. Right, we need some trees, which I've already done. Got to let it snow, that I've already done. Let's start building up this card. They are so satisfying to colour in these houses, aren't they? Right, we're going to leave our base to one side for the minute, and we're going to start off by adding in this church. And I'm just going to paper piece them all together for now, so that I know what we've got is okay, and then we're going to stick everything down. So I'm going to put one house down over here on the left. So I might need to trim off some edges. That's why I'm just piecing it for now. Let's go up a bit with the church. We're going to have like a little village, a little scene. We'll have one house over here, and then we're going to pop another house down here. Right, what I'm going to do though, because I've got that little edge, I'm going to pull that over a little bit like that. I think that'll be about right. So I'm going to start off by just sticking this piece on here. So let's just, it's going flat down onto my paper. So a bit of Tombow on the back. So we want it over to the right a bit and just down from the top. And remember, we're not looking at the edge of this paper. We're looking at these edges so that our church is kind of standing straight. Like that. And then we'll just snip off that edge You have to be a bit careful because there's a bit of glue on the back of that layer. Missed a bit then. And then the next house we're going to pop in is this one here. Now obviously we've got this overhang, we want to just hide that. So we're going to put that one round about here. And I'm going to snip that off just down here. So I'm just going to snip off the bottom because we don't want it hanging. If I place them all on, then you can see where I'm going with this. So I'm going to have one house here, then we're going to pop the other house just in over here. I'm going to hide that join. And then we're going to have our brick wall. So we can probably take a little smidge off of this one. Let's put this one in first and then we can trim off the edges. So this one is going in flat as well. So we just line that one in. So it's got to come in from the edge a little bit. And then we just want to hide that little join there. Let's make sure that they're standing straight. And then we'll just snip off the excess. And then our final little house, what I call our little gingerbread, we're going to pop on some dimensionals. So can you see that little edge there? I'm going to pop that up there just so it covers it. You can take most of that off. And we can take the edge off of that bit and we'll pop some dimensionals behind. Minis for me, of course. I motor my way through packets of these. They're just great. Our dimensionals, honestly, for what they cost, they're £4. You get 3 sheets in a pack. And that's the same for if you buy the minis or the standard, you get 3 sheets. So how many do you get in the small pack? There's 720 in a pack. They are just like the best height for posting. They're really brilliant and they're just fab. Right, we're gonna have this little house over here. Just gonna overlap. That hurts my hand doing that, holding like this. And let's make sure that it's straight, that the actual house is straight. Remember, not looking at the bottom. Let's trim off that edge. And then we can add in our brick wall, which is going to go down here. So I'm going to trim that to the width of my cardstock. Turn it over, trim it off. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals. And I add some over this side, but the other side's going to sit on this layer. It's already, oops, that was 2, got dimensionals on. So we shouldn't need to add any there, but we will add some glue along that bit. So I also did a little poll on my community group. Right, let's just concentrate to get this straight, otherwise it's going to look a bit naff. Okay, I'm just following this line and this line on my grid paper. Yeah, I did a little poll. Soph suggested to me a few weeks back about opening up the studio doors just for people to like bring their general crafts. So just finding some trees, save me stamping and cutting. So I did a little poll anyway, and it looks like I've got kind of some majority votes. And what I might do to start off with is do a couple of nights of like craft club. I want to find a better word for it, but where you come along to the studio, couple of hours of crafting in company. You bring your projects, you pay a minimal fee to come, light refreshments included, but you bring your projects to finish off. It could be Stampin' Up projects, it could be sewing, it could be knitting, it could be crochet. Just come and craft in company with the darker nights drawing in, and my goodness, aren't they drawing in, especially on a dull day. Come and craft with me and spend an evening, and we will inspire each other. I know we will. And we will kick each other's butts to finish the projects that, those card kits that you've not finished, and your sewing project that you've not finished. Right, a couple of these trees I'm just going to snip a bit off. Okay, so I'm going to make one of them shorter, of the white ones, and then the crumb cake one a bit shorter. I'm going to wedge in one up here, up on the hill, so a bit of Tombow under there. I'll just wedge it down in. It needs to go in a bit more. Chop the corner off, otherwise it looks like it's hanging in the air. This needs to go a bit lower. That's it. And then we're going to pop a couple down here, but I'm going to need dimensionals behind them. So yeah, it's looking like, what did I jot down? The 3rd Tuesday evening and the 4th Monday. And I will see how it goes and play it by ear if there's enough interest to do both. Oh, that's a bit high because you can't even see hardly any of the house behind it. Let's chop it down a bit. Sorry, I feel like you can't see what I'm doing. That'll do. And then the other one is going to go just next to it, like that. And then we'll finish with our Let It Snow that I have pre-stamped and pre-cut. Time is ticking. I am aware of that. We've got one more project to do, which shouldn't take too long. I'm going to pop our little Let It Snow in. And then, of course, we need to add some real snow. One down here. One up here. And one over there. And we're going to ignore that little gappage of snow. It's fine. Nobody will see that. They will just look at these beautiful snowflakes in the sky. You do need quite a bit of Tombow to hold these down. The tiniest little double is sort of not enough, I found. I have lost a few along the way. So, here's our finished project. And I'm just reminding myself, you definitely do need some of these snowflakes. They are the most gorgeous thing on the planet. We're going to have a bit of wink on here. Now, I urge you with caution, be careful how you open these. Don't open it over your project because sometimes they can be quite juicy and sort of splat where you don't want them to splat. So I'm going to open mine next to me. Now, can you see here it says push? Don't push that over a project either. So that just encourages the fluid that's in the end of here. It encourages it to come out through your brush tip, but I think I have enough on mine. So I'm just going to paint, and I say paint because it is like a paintbrush, inside my roof. I try not to touch any of the black ink if I can help it. And I'm having to do this at an angle so that I can actually see where the light is hitting. And you probably won't see this from on the camera, but it just adds like a sparkly dust of glimmer. I don't think you'll see it, but it's gorgeous. I believe it's £8.50, could be £8.25, but it will last you quite a long time. So there we go. My original is pretty much the same. So what I say to urge you to do is that when you're stamping, when you're wanting to layer like this, is to make sure you allow enough snow underneath. Now, we were talking about masking. So you could do this part on one layer. You could do all of this on one layer if you wanted to. And I didn't want to overcomplicate things when fussy cutting is so easy. But I did grab out a couple of pieces just to show you what I mean by... Hi, Margaret, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. By masking. So basically, we... Has another scrap somewhere. We need to stamp out our little house on a post-it note. So, and I've stamped them. The sticky part here is at the bottom. So I've stamped them so that we've got some of that sticky bit on the part we're going to cut out. And basically what we do is, for masking, it's such a simple thing to do, but you need something thin. Like these post-it notes are quite thin. If you just use a piece of cardstock, it's not going to be as effective. So I'm just going to show you quickly what I mean by masking. So let us take the gingerbread house. It's not a gingerbread house by any means, but that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to ink that one up. Oops, I nearly dropped it down on then. We'll stamp it down there like that. Now let's just say I wanted to stamp these little houses next to it, like here, but I didn't want to have to fussy cut them out. And I wanted to keep it on one layer. We take our little mask, we've got this sticky bit at the bottom, and we're just going to pop it straight over the top of that original stamped image like that. Then we ink up our little houses. And let's try and get them straight-ish. We could have them up above like ours are. I'm not quite sure how that would look, but we'll try it. Stamp them down. So we've got this. But then when we take this off, can you see how this house appears to be in front of this house? Now it is tricky because we've got these little liney bits here, but that's no different really to me having the lines here that I've hidden with a tree. So you can still do the same thing of popping a tree in front of any bits. Yeah, so that is kind of like simple masking. No, Margaret, Helen's right. There are no dies. So the stamp set is standalone, which is okay. You can kind of create scenes and things with them. And I'm just showing you an example here of how you can create scenes. But yeah, no dies. So if you hate fussy cutting, it may not be the stamp set for you. Now that house was a little bit wonky. Can you see when you don't stamp your building straight how, and I know it's on a mountain on the top of the Alps, and you know, the ground is very uneven, but that would just play with my mind. So yes, once you've cut these, don't throw them away. Put them somewhere safe. And you can use that, stick them onto that, and then they'll go in a bit better. And then you can use them over and over again. And that applies to sort of any images. Right, I've got one more project for you. And then I will be out of your way. I have to say this is cute. I do like this one. And it follows on from last week's That's where my idea came from. I'm getting good at working smarter, not harder. So I think I'm getting good at it, and I think I've nailed it with this project. Okay, what do I need? This time, you're all going to be wanting to make this for your colleagues and stuff. Let's start with, where's my template? You need a sheet of cardstock which measures 4 1/8 by 11 5/8. Let's get my score tool. Simple bit of scoring. Yeah, the little houses, they do kind of look harder to cut than they actually are. Excuse me. Runny nose. So if you aren't using A4 cardstock, there is kind of a way around this. You will kind of fathom it out, and maybe I'll try and figure it out amongst the many other things I need to be doing in my life today. So we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Can you see what I'm doing? 1/2 inch, 3 inches, 6 5/8, 10 1/4, and then 10 3/8, which is next to it. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score portrait at 1/2 inch from each side. So I'm just going to turn it and do it like that. So we've got this piece with panels. We've got these two that are close together here. Right, we're going to take that out. I love my score tool. Of course, you may well have this trimmer where you've got cutting and scoring blades. We do need to use that. But I like my score tool for my general scoring. So let me just grab my instructions so that I can see where I need to make my cuts. And what we're going to do is cut out some of these sections. It's really hard to see with white cardstock. So my light grey blade here is my scory tool, and then the dark grey one is my cutting tool. And what I need to cut is on these 1/2 inch lines, we're going to cut down to this middle panel. So we're going to cut through 2 big blocks. So I'm going to line it in on that 1/2 inch score line. Doesn't look straight. I hope it is. I'm going to bring my cutter, because I don't want to cut this one. I'm just cutting down this. Would help if you could see. We've got this first panel and then this second big panel. We're just cutting down to that point. So I'm going to cut up. Okay, so we've got this bit like this. Then I'm going to flip it and do the same on that 1/2 inch. And we're keeping this panel, we're keeping these tabs either side. So I'm going to go down 2 panels again and cut up. Okay, that was a little bit in on my score line, but it will be fine. So we're going to flip it and do exactly the same. Go down to the second panel and cut up, and then flip it over, and then go down to that second panel again. And I'm lining up on my scory cutty blade here. I've got a line. I'm lining that up with that score line. Let's just check that didn't move. And we're cutting up. So we end up with these little bits here that we're going to snip off. You like the scoreboard? Yes, Yeah, it does sound good as well. So I just love it as for my scoring. Obviously I do use the trimmer, but I just love it I love the big one for scoring. It's kind of just, I find it easier. So what we're going to do now, we want to cut these panels off. So we're going to cut those off. But then also I'm going to create a little wedge like that. And then I'm going to do the same at the bottom here. And then just cut a little wedge. We'll do the same on the other side. It's difficult when it's white because it doesn't really stand out, does it? Quite often I just cut like that directly and then it saves a cut. So move all of those out of the way. So we now end up, we need also wedge out this little bottom panel as well. So it's this 1/2 inch end piece. So we end up, maybe I should zoom. Oh, nearly lost you then. Zoom out a smidge. So we've got this piece that looks like this. Now we need to score all of these bits. So when you've got a small width panel like this, I like to fold them in and crease them that way. And then, just where I've cut that, I've got a bit of an edge, so I'm just smoothing it down. We've got 2 score lines really close to one another here. So I like to take my ruler just to give us a bit of a guide. So that's the first one. And it's often tricky to get that next one, but if you use a ruler against it and then pull it up, it will just help you. And then pull it back and hold it. It will just help you make sure you get those 2 score lines in there so you get this effect. So that's one tricky thing when you've got score lines that are close to each other. So I'm just creasing all of those lines. And again, that end one, we'll do it from the reverse. So this is what we've got. Bits of adhesive stuck on it. Next, we have, let me just see what I am doing. So what we're going to do first, we're going to take the panel that has the little 1/2 inch piece at the bottom and we're going to glue that down. And hold it for a mo. You use my ruler trick all the time. It's been a game changer. Yeah, do you know what, Helen? It does make a difference because it's really hard getting 2 crease lines that are so close to each other. And that ruler trick just helps you, doesn't it? Okay, so we've just stuck that end over. That's just going to give us a nice fold. Can you see where we're going with this from last week? Right, what do I need next? We need to do some embossing. So I've got 2 panels here of white cardstock. They measure, oh look at all that glue on the back of there. Let's get rid of that. Why do things get so tomboed? 2 7/8, still a bit stuck on there. 2 7/8 by 2 1/4 and 3 3/8 by 2 7/8. And then what we want to do is run these through the gorgeous snowflake sky. So we'll pop those in. One's going to be a bit more dense than the other. that doesn't matter because this has a gradient on it. It's much thicker snow at the bottom as there is at the top. So we've got these two pieces like that. I know you guys are loving this embossing folder too. It is super sweet. So we are going to add the smaller panel to this rectangle here. Now you could layer this up, add more colour if you wanted to. I've kept it pretty neutral and pretty simple. You could back this layer with a colour, with petal pink or whatever colour you're doing, just to kind of make it pop a bit. But I've kept it kind of minimal. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to take from this what you can. I'm here to inspire you. I'm not being paid to be here today. This is my time that I'm devoting to you, to share my love, and hoping that you will feel inspired to recreate. Oops, that went on the chair. So we've got this panel here, then the next panel to it is where this one's going, and now this is where I've fallen short a bit because my snow is kind of falling the wrong way. That is something you need to bear in mind. Do I need to redo that? Will anybody feel the way I feel about it? What do we think? Yeah, it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. I'm going to have to cut another because I don't want to stick it. What did I say? 2 7/8 by 3 and 3. Always got basic white cardstock to hand. Right. It needed to go in that way and not the other way. Let's just do that quickly. So if you're the kind of crafter who likes to do events and craft fairs and village shows and stuff like that, we won't throw that away as well. We'll save that for something else. That is much better. This little gift card holder is going to be useful for you. Let me check that I'm doing the right panels. I think I am. Right, we're just going to pop this one straight on as well. I mean, imagine what else you could do. Imagine using a blending brush and adding some colour to this. Or a brayer. Have you got a brayer? You would have redone it too. Thank you, yeah. I'm just thinking that I'm going to end up with loads of these because I keep making and filming, and if I do it wrong, I'm not going to want to pass it on and gift it, am I? So we've just got those 2 layers that have got snow on. I'm not worried about them being one's thicker snow here and this. I'm not worried about that at all. Right, next we're going to turn it over and we want to stick down this part here. So we're going to add glue just to these sides. You could use tear and tape if you want to, but I'm just going to have Tombow because that's what I use the most. And we're just going to stick that down and hold it for a mo. Let's have a tidy up. So, next, this panel here, I've taken a piece of petal pink. So this is what I'm saying, you could layer up all of these with petal pink behind. I want my Let It Snow. Let's give you measurements because you're going to want to make some of these. It's the same as the previous, I think. 2 7/8 by 3 and 3. And then we've got 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. So just an 1/8 smaller. So those will mat and layer together Let's stamp Let It Snow. Whenever I say that, I want to sing. But as my ladies warned me on Saturday, it's too early for Christmas music and definitely too early for singing. Right, let's try and have this straight. Usually a good guide is to kind of lay your, touch the bottom then, new ad. Lay your like line of wordage there and just kind of lift it up, and then hopefully you should be at the right angle. It was a bit heavy, but it will dry. It will fade. It's because I've re-inked. And then put this layer down. I don't know why I work on a wonk. I've said this before. Do work on a bit of a wonk, don't I? Do they give you 11s, Helen? Do you get 11s? I know we've kind of missed it. It's 20 to 12, but I'm saying that's because I'm ready for my 11s. And I'm going to lay this one down on the inside. Nice even border all the way around. Like that. You get a cuppa and a little packet of biscuits. Marvellous. Give you something to keep those sugar levels up. Right, what do we need to do next? Top panel. This little panel at the top. Yet more of this gorgeous petal pink DSP, which measures 1 1/8 by 2 7/8. Let's pop that down. Just lay it centrally, like that. So, although I went to Ledbury on Friday, I did go again yesterday because when I was over there with Caroline, we stumbled across this little organic shop. Now, not all of you know, but some of you will know as I chat with you, I try and buy all my essentials that we eat like on a daily basis. I try to get organic now just because I think the less chemicals in our body, the better. But it's hard. Around here, it's hard to get organic. And I end up going to like M&S Food Hall and Sainsbury's and Waitrose sometimes if I'm near one to try and get like my veg. I've just noticed, sorry, Kathy, what is 11s? So I call 11s is that time when it's in between breakfast and lunch and you need something to keep you going. So a cup of coffee, cup of tea, maybe a biscuit, maybe a snack, maybe a healthy snack. So that's what I call 11s. We have 11s in this house and we have 3 o'clockers. So yeah, at 3 o'clock, there's definitely that, it's that slump, isn't it? When you need something. So I'm pretty good. Since Christmas last year, I was feeling so like sluggish and tired just because I was eating lots of sugary treats. So I've now switched to a much healthier 11s option. So I make little power balls from like oats and dates and nuts. But quite often during the week, I have my 11s would be maybe a little pot with some raisins and some nuts, just something to snack with alongside my coffee. At the weekend, I go ham. I have chocolate brownies, Rocky Road, because life is about living. So yeah, but I'm good in the week. I'm sensible. And I'm hoping that by all the nuts and the good oils that I'm eating, that's going to help, although it's not helping with my hair at the minute. Okay, so hopefully that explains, Kathy. And thank you for stopping by, what 11s are. So yeah. Where was I? Yeah, found this lovely organic shop. So I popped over there yesterday to get some fresh veg and some pasta. What else did I get? Some cheese, some butter. Didn't get any fruit, didn't have grapes. And a lot of it was local as well. So I've got some nice spinach. Can't remember what else. Orzo, bought some nice organic orzo. So just things that are hard to get from your everyday supermarkets. Right, we are getting there. We are nearly there. We need one more house, which have I done already? I've stamped it and cut it. Have I got one coloured? I don't think I have. Let's pull out my petal pink pens. I tend to only use, let's not sit on my trimmer. Tend to use the dark for this one. I don't know about you, and let's just give it a try. And these pens are probably running very low. This is petal pink dark, and this is light. There's not a massive amount of difference between them. Petal pink dark and petal pink light. It's not a mass amount between them, but I tend to use dark on my little houses. And then you could shade up if you want to, but I tend not to bother. Oh, more joyous colouring. Happy days. The sun is out. I've still got my flip-flops on. Not that I'm leaving the house with my flip-flops on, but it's warm enough in the studio today. I do get cold feet over here sometimes though, with the door open, like the cold air does come up the stairs and gets my feet. So what I tend to then just do is go back in and do like a double layer where my shadow or shading would be. You like adding a bit of orzo to your homemade soup spell? It makes them hearty. Yeah, I do. Quite often when I'm doing like, because I cook everything from scratch, I'm quite often, if I'm doing like a pan, something in the pan on the hob, like in a big, like a wok frying pan, like I've got veggies in there and garlic and it's all like simmering, I'll put in like a bit of stock and then throw in some orzo. Absolutely love it. If anybody's not sure what orzo is, it's literally pasta, but it's not much bigger than risotto, would you say? It's just a very small, tiny pasta. But the first time I ever discovered orzo was when my beautiful friend Monica Gale, introduced me to the world of Thermomix, and she created the first dish using orzo. I'd never even heard what it was before then. So, right, let's pull out our SU500. Just add some colour to the roof. I've recently bought the Deliciously Ella, now which one is it called? Like her latest book, which looks fabulous. So, but I need to cook meat tonight because, quite frankly, I think I could almost go meat free. Don't eat a lot of meat, but Jay likes his meat, so. Oh, shutters. These are shutters here. And of course, last night I did, by the time I got in from Ledbury, I had about 20 minutes to prepare dinner. So it was like another pan bake of like, it was delicious. I did broccoli, green beans, peppers, onions, tomatoes in a pan. Then I put in some seasoning and then I cooked pasta. We had some Parmesan cheese. And spinach. I added spinach at the end and a bit of water from the pasta just to give it a bit of substance. It was delicious, and we had leftover sourdough from the weekend that I popped in the air fryer and added loads of cheese too. So yeah, it was organic cheese, so that's all good. Our little house. Oh, so cute. But yeah, I've not tried that tiny style pasta. Yeah, I guess that's a bit like orzo's, just good. It's like a filler, isn't it? It's love pasta. Love pasta of all descriptions. Usually because it ends up having cheese on it, and I love cheese. Right, what do we need to do next? We need to add a bit of colour to a circle that I have pre-cut from the Spotlight on Nature. I'm just going to add some crumb cake to this circle. Add some snow. And I try to keep my snow inside this ribbed edge. Oh, this is so dark. I think I need to squidge a bit out because it's so dark. Let's grab a post-it note and we'll just, mask off that edge bit and just put a couple of bits of snow around the edge. So I'm just masking off the hashed edge. Yellow windows. Do you mean I could do yellow windows? Kathy, is that what you mean? So I'm just masking off. I was thinking like pool party would be sort of good for windows to create like a glass effect. Just gonna add one more around here. Can you see I've just got that edgy bit? Just move that around a little bit. Just put one there. It's all the little bits that make a difference to the finished design. Move all this out of the way. There we go. You've been using light pool party for the windows. Okay. I'm not going to do it on this one because it won't match the others. I guess I could colour them in, but yeah, that's a good point. Shall we do it? Let's see what it looks like. Pool party. We can always add it into the others. Last week, Belle, you were cooking for yourself. You were making your, is it tabbouleh? Is that how you pronounce it? You batch cooked it, did you? And then you had it with wraps and bacon, cheese and salad leaves. That sounded yummy. Right. Oh, I'm quite liking the blue. It's not going to deter from my neutral look. The other thing we could have done as well, that is nice, very sweet. Cute is, have I got the very pale? The other set of blends are the 700, 800. I think I've got all these colours down somewhere. I've got a little guide. There they are. Oh no, I haven't got that one on there. Let's put down the 7 and the 800. Right, this is the 700, which is a lovely colour. And then the 800. SU 700. SU 800. So they are a bit more yellowy. I think that one would look quite nice in the windows actually. It's quite a good point. I'll have to practice. It will just blend. I have these little guides that I'm doing when I'm colouring in. I make these little guides also so that I can remember what colours I've used on things. Renee, you like the pool party in the windows? Yeah, it kind of just takes away the starkness, doesn't it? Thank you, Helen, for that tip. Right, what we're going to do next is add in this little house. So I'm just going to line it into roughly where I want it to sit and then turn it over. Take my big snips just because it's easier to follow the edge and just snip around like that. pop some dimensionals on the bottom. And stick those two together. Like that. I've created, so again we've got that nice double score there, which just acts as a buffer for the thickness of this layer. Where's my gift card? I need to check whether I've got some money left on this one still. So your gift card will just sit inside there. You could fold up some money and put in there. Sophie's just messaged me, it's just popped up. Fancy Gallagher's later. Gallagher's is like a retail park with a Costa. Bless her, I can't wait to catch up with her properly. So it just folds over like that. And then our belly band, which measures 1 and, I want to say 1/4, can't remember, nope, way out, 1 1/2. And this is just by the width of our cardstock. 8 1/4. She's put, how was your live? Oh, honey, it's 5 to 12 and I'm still on here. I need to go. You guys will be well done with me. Right, so I'm just going to start in the middle. I'm going to fold it around like that. But look how rough that is. So I'm just going to pinch on both of those edges. Then I'm going to take it off and just go over. I'm going to, where those pinches were, I'm going to go back over and just reinforce it to get a crisp edge. Guys, I'm sorry, I've been on here so long. No wonder my tummy is rumbling for 11s. Oh, Helen, I'm glad to be of some company to you, sweetheart. I hope that they let you out later. Tell them I said you need to come home. Right, I'm just sticking these two together. I'm not going to push them too tight because I need to be able to slide this belly band. Gosh, if you thought that was thunder, it was my tummy. Belle, I missed a comment then. You added diagonal stripe of pool party across the windows, just like the light hitting it. That is very genius. Very genius. So we've got our belly band. Gonna pop on a couple of dimensionals. And we are nearly done. Obviously waffle too much. We've had quite a bit of colouring we've been doing. Let's get it in the middle. Pop our little house down. And then to finish, of course, we cannot give these little beauties a miss. It's much easier to put them in the lid. And add the usual trio. Now my next dilemma is, depending on what time I meet Sophie, I don't know about you guys, but when you go out for coffee, I just find it really filling. It's just all that milk, isn't it? And Costa's small is like everywhere else is large. So I don't want to overload. I need to save room for that coffee, which is what I'm trying to say, which sounds a bit lightweightish, but... Hi Renee, it's 8:55 at night where you are. You'll be heading to bed soon then. Right, let's add a bit of wink because we can. I'll be driving you to sleep, Renee. Although sometimes it can be a bit dangerous watching creative things at night time because then you get into bed and then your brain goes into overdrive, doesn't it? Cute. Cute. So it just unfolds. Take your belly band off, unfold, you've got your little pocket. You could fold some money up, put a gift card in, whatever. So that was obviously a follow-on from this bigger version that we did last time, okay, which would fit a note in. Oh, that's nice to know, Helen. Yeah, I've tried to sort of be savvy with my cardstock on this one by making it 4 1/8, so you could get 2 out of 1 sheet of A4. But imagine them all in different colours. How cute would they look with different colour base, different papers, more paper even, rather than the embossed layers. Use some of the lovely DSP, like we have the Take a Bow, this one. Imagine them done with these fun colours for Christmas. Right, I have to love you and leave you. You have given me so much of your time already today. I am very thankful for that. Let's have a quick look at what we did. Surrounded by pens. Put the lid on that ink. And there we go. So don't forget, tomorrow is free shipping day. If you haven't got this stamp set yet, it's such a good one, honestly, and it's only £18, which I think is just great value. Super value. I'm tidying up as we go. So OCD. Everything has a little home, doesn't it? So it's got to go back in its little home. Right. Yes, so just £18. It's super, super value. So have a think about masking. You know, if you're not a fussy cutter, create some scenes. Have a go, have a play. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Helen, got everything crossed for you. I will catch up with you later anyway. Thank you all so much for stopping by. And I'll be back with you all very soon. So bye for now.